Hello, everyone. This is take 3, 4, or 5. I can't remember now. I think all the audio issues are now fixed, hopefully. Um, we'll see if this video is worse or better than all the other takes. But this is the Tableau exercise walkthrough. Feel free to pause, rewind, fast forward, anything throughout this video. You can change the speed at the bottom, anything so that it's more workable for you. I am going to turn off my camera because my monitor is actually over here. And that way I can focus without worrying, there we go, what the side of my head looks like. So this is Tableau. You can see a few of my other tries up here. Well, welcome. This video is to get you introduced to the Tableau interface and just getting you to recognize what's going on here with the worksheets. And you can tell I'm a little frazzled now that I'm recording this for the upteenth time, but that's okay. Whew. So this is Tableau. Down here you will see if you ever have any updates available. There's almost always an update. I do this maybe once every couple of weeks. If there's something important, I will update it. As long as you are on 2024.2, you are okay for now. On the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see the Connect side, where you can see different data connectors, including Tableau Server if you worked at a company with Tableau, to different files, including Microsoft Excel, text files, that'd be like CSVs, or servers if you have a database, as well as some sample data sources. Up here you would see any files you've worked on previously or opened previously. So that might be blank for you right now. And then some just quick start things from Tableau. So we are going to create a new Tableau workbook using an Excel file. So go over here to Excel and we're going to connect. We're going to use the Gapminder long format. If you have not downloaded Tableau and downloaded that data source, please pause now and come back. But if you've got that, let's get started. You see over here there are two different tabs because there are two different tabs in the Excel file, child mortality and GDP per capita. If you drag child mortality to the middle here, that allows us to see that data source. Here's the metadata, the data about the data, and you'll see the field name, physical table, and remote field name. Over here you'll see a little preview of the data. So we've got country, year, and child mortality. There is one thing I'm gonna go ahead and fix in this video to save us all some time. It was going to be a surprise later, but year is not currently a year. So you see country is a geographic role country. Child mortality is a number. You see it in green. Year is ABC. We're going to change that to date. There we go. And we can actually change the format in a moment so it doesn't show the January 1st. But that will allow us to do some neat things later with dates. Once you have that ready, go to your first worksheet. It should be highlighted in orange. So this is the Tableau main workplace that you're going to be doing your visualizations. This is called a worksheet. The entire Tableau file is a workbook, and then later we'll be working with dashboards and stories. But for now, you just needed to worry about the sheet. A few things on this sheet. We've got pages. Think of pages in a book, and you can flip them. That's what this would do to a visualization. We'll get to that in a later week. Filters allows you to filter your data. A little self-explanatory, but filter things in or out. Marks changes the appearance of your data, so color, size, text, labels, all of those things. And then Tableau has columns and rows built in here. So we can put things on different columns and rows. Think of like pivot tables in Excel. And then there are a few other options up here to know about. Your save option, we can go ahead and save. I'm going to call this Tableau 1. Please work. And you see now the name is up there. We can also do that by using that shortcut Command S. So let's get started by dragging country to rows. So country, you click and drag it to rows. And you see now that we have all of our countries, and an ABC in Tableau is just like a placeholder because there's nothing there yet. We know that this is just unique countries, so no repeats because there's 197. And if we go back to our data source, we can see that there's almost 60,000. So only unique countries. We can now drag year to columns. And actually, before we do that, I'm going to change the format. So right click and actually I'm going to do that once we drag it. So year to columns, and here's where I'm going to change the format. Oh, actually it showed up nicely this time. If it ever doesn't, you would do that format, and thankfully it's doing that nicely, but you can do 4-digit, 2-digit. Occasionally dates show up with that like January 1st, and you would want something different. Lots of good options there to change the appearance. So now we've got kind of a table, but it's missing the good stuff in the middle, the data. So let's add child mortality. So if you take child mortality, click and drag, and you can actually just drag it to the middle of this table. And it will fill in all of these spots. You'll notice that some countries don't have any data for certain periods of time, and that will just show up as a blank, and the rest will be filled in. We can also filter this table because right now it's showing a lot of years and it's really hard to see. So let's filter by year. We're going to drag year to filter. We can do years. And my trick here is to click none. And then you can go down to the years you want. Let's do 1980 to 2010. And you can just click and drag. Do that. So that saves you some time instead of having to click individually. You can just click and drag and select all of them. Click OK. And now we've got it filtered by year, 1980 to 2010. You notice up here it says sheet 1, and that's the name of our sheet. Let's go ahead and change that. So you can either double click or you can right click in it and click rename. And I'm going to call this child mortality. And that changes my title up here. So let's double click in here to see what's going on. And you see that it has the sheet name here. So anytime I update the sheet name, it's going to automatically change the title. But I can actually change what's up here. So let me put 1980 to 2010. So now you see that it's got the sheet name still, but I've got my extra text up here that's not in the sheet name. So if I actually change the sheet name to something else, it'll change it up here, but then the other text I put up is still there. So now we've got a simple table, but let's add some color to it. So I'm going to take child mortality and drag it to color. And you see over here, it took the lowest values and gave it a light blue color, and the darkest values, the highest values, have that dark blue color, which was really hard to see. So let's change that. I'm going to click this down arrow, edit colors, and you can change the palette. Tableau has lots of built-in options, and you can even create your own custom ones, which we will do in a later week. The one I like to use for this is this red-black one. And what I like to do is actually reverse it so that the lowest ones are black and the highest ones are red, so we can really see them. And the other thing I like to do is click this stepped color and move it down just a peg. And all this does is take down, as you saw when I didn't have the stepped color, you see how it has a gray that's almost white? It can be really hard to see. So if you do stepped color, and you can take out any colors you don't want. So there we go. You can also change some things here about where that center is. You can do the start and end too, but that's kind of set by our data. If I change the center to 200, now it tells us that that center mark is at 200. So only the ones at or above 200 are going to be colored in that orange or red color. You can click apply to apply and OK to exit the screen. And if we were in that screen again, you can also just click OK and it will save it as well. So this is a little bit better. Still a little bit hard to read. The other thing I like to do here is you see over here on this marks card, it says automatic right now, but let's change that to square. You see now that's actually a lot more readable because it's changed the square to what's actually being colored, and the text, the label, is white. Let's change that label a little bit and make it bold. So we can go to font, just make it bold, just to make it a little bit more readable. And now we've got a table that's color-coded with bold font. So now we can see the countries with the highest and lowest child mortality a little bit easier. Now remember, save your file. You can I'm pressing my keyboard, which you can't see. I'm on Mac, so I press Command S. On Windows, it'd be Control S. You can also go up here and press the Save button, or go to File, Save. Let's make one more visualization while we're here. We're going to go down here to New Worksheet. So you can click that. You can go to Worksheet, New Worksheet, or you can use that keyboard shortcut right there. And let's rename this sheet to Line Graph, which tells you a little bit about what I want to do here. If we have data over time, like I mentioned in that last video, we want to look at it in a line graph. That's kind of a go-to. And here I saved us some time earlier I went ahead and changed the year here. But we're going to use the Show Me tab here. So if you go up here to the upper right-hand corner, click that Show Me tab. And you'll see a lot of the built-in common visualizations in Tableau. You've got tables, maps, pie charts, bar charts. I want this line chart though. And you see that I need a date, 0 or more dimensions, which means that dimensions are optional, and then 1 or more measures. And you see that dimensions and measures, blue and green. It's this blue and green over here, dimensions and measures. Dimensions are essentially categorical variables and measures are numeric variables. So if I want a line graph, I need at least one date, 0 or more measures, and 0 more dimensions and 1 or more measures. To do that, I'm going to click and use, on Windows, it's Control click. On Mac, it's Command click. So I'm pressing Command on my keyboard, click, click, click. And watch over on the right-hand side of my screen as I take things away and add them. You see how the different ones light up? That's what's available to you. So it's a really nice feature. If you're not quite sure what chart you want to make, but you know you want to use certain variables, that's how you can do that. So I've got country, year, and child mortality. I'm going to go over here to this line chart and just click it, and it's going to make me a line graph. You can exit out of that Show Me tab. And you see this is not exactly what I wanted. It has created a line graph for each country, which is nice. It's interesting for sure, but I wanted them all in one. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to actually drag country. You can do this, if you do it to color, it's going to show you lots of different colors. Gets a little crazy there. If you drag it to label instead, it's still all over the place, but it's just on the label. You could also do it on detail. It's the same thing. It's just the country is now in the detail. So this is more what I wanted, but we've got some work to do before it's exactly what we want. So first, let's do the same filter that we did before. So let's year to filter. I'm going to do years. You can also do this relative date is like the previous 30 days, plus or minus 7 days, whatever you want there. Range of dates. For this one, years is the easiest one. And again, we're going to go to what we want, 1980 to 2010. 2010. And click. Okay, so that helped a little bit. I also want to filter down by how many countries we're looking at. We're looking at quite a few right now. Let's just filter down to the countries with the worst child mortality rates during this time. So we're going to drag, and this is confusing because you would think you would drag child mortality, but really I want to filter down the number of countries. So I'm going to filter country, so drag country to filter. And instead of selecting the countries manually, I'm going to go to top by field. And it actually has this built in because I only have one measure, but I can do the top 10 child mortality. And I have it set by sum. You can do average, median, you can pick a lot of these. I'm gonna do sum. So this is gonna take the top 10 countries by the total child mortality. And then the last thing you need to do here is, to make this the correct top 10, is just click this year, right click there, add to context. And that's a more advanced Tableau thing. It's order of operations just to say, hey, only look at the time period that I'm talking about here to make sure you're filtering to the correct one. So now when we have this, it's only the top 10 in that time period. And now I can make this look a little bit nicer in the ways that I want. So I'm going to quickly add some color to it. I'm going to do stepped color again. Oops, other way. I can add country to label. See, it adds it up there. I could also just do line ends, and it does it the beginning and the end. And there we have it. So now we've created two different graphs, a table and a line graph. I'm going to save again. And then the last thing you need to do before you send a Tableau file is that when I've saved this, you notice that it's a .twb file. That is a Tableau workbook file. That's what you're going to use when you're working on your just normal computer. But if you need to send this file to someone, it needs to be in a .twbx file, Tableau packaged workbook. This takes that data that you put in there and it embeds it in the file. If you don't do that, the person that gets the file can't actually do anything with your Tableau file. So if you are going to email me a file, if you're going to upload it to Brightspace, if you're going to send it to, say you're working on your work machine and you need to send it to your personal, always use this Tableau packaged workbook when you're ready to send it off to someone else to work on it. You can do that by doing Save As and changing the format, or you can do File, Export Packaged Workbook. Save. And there we go. So I'm really hoping the audio works on this. Thank you again to everyone for bearing with me and for letting me know that the audio wasn't working. If you ever see that in the future, definitely let me know. Audio files that you don't have access to. I'm definitely human, make mistakes. So I appreciate you. Have a good week. Bye.